Good evening. Welcome to the April 23rd, 2025 edition of the Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then would you call the roll, please?
Councilperson Kies,
Here.
Councilperson Chase.
Here.
Supervisor Williver,
Here.
Councilperson Brown.
Here. I'd like to break for an executive session now to discuss a contractual matter. I want to hang around with that shortly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a mountain of it, just, you know, not even in bags. So. As long as. Yeah, I'll. Yeah, if you guys need help with something, let me know.
Not John, I don't know who it is. I don't know. I was going to actually, during, call by. Yeah, to know, yeah. Mitchell, Robert.
Yeah. I last one year I went out there and I wanted to. I think it was just trying to get a thought for something to find. So I went out there, could not find 10 months anywhere. And as I was, you know, I pushed the shrub aside or something. There was, oh, I know, I was doing that page, I put it, and I took the page off and at the very base of the shrub was an enormous pile of nuts. So somebody that collects them all, just as much. They would go, oh, yeah. So, oh, so yeah. So shrubs are gonna be the same concern as trees. But also, like, others that are perch. So, you know, grass like and stuff, you know, lost for shrubs, so it's just the way. Same deal, rather than trees are always fine, but it's not going to be fine. Oh, I know. Plans for grass, but not. I know it's. But it's not that it's having to walk across the board. Yeah, turn left, you go along the trail that could be there, because now it's where you turn left. Actually, the more I think about it, it is a lot that. Which is, honestly, that's just a proof that that forest has been grown. Because it is not. It's like in the rock.
It is.
Do I need to
Make a motion to come out of executive session.
make a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll second.
That way you pull the board, please.
Sorry, Councilperson Guys,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Here.
Supervisor Williver,
Here.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown.
I have a couple announcements. On April 29th, 2025, the United States Postal Service Clerk Teresa Hughes will be working her last day. She started her career as a rural carrier and then became a clerk. She's also served as an acting postmaster of Rush from 2010 to 2013. It would be nice to stop by Rush Post Office to celebrate of her retirement on April 29th, this year. Anyone who's interested knows Cheryl, stop up. Also, it's people are beginning to dig around town. New York State SEG would like to remind people to dig safely. Dial 811. If you're going to start any projects, stuff isn't necessarily buried as deep as you think it may be. That's it. And now public comment. Everyone's got something to say. Step up to the microphone and
Son?
Yes.
Okay. All right. My name's Phyllis Wickerham. I live at 105 Biondo Court. I wasn't sure whether I should be doing this or not, but I think that it is important that the rest of our community know and have access to my comments. I attended the planning board meeting last night and I was appalled. You all have received a letter from me. And I am going to read that because I want everyone in this town to understand where my feelings are. I am writing to file a formal complaint against planning board member Carl Ast. His actions at the meeting last night were appalling at the very least. I strongly encourage you all to watch that YouTube video. His commentary regarding the special permit application of the Afghan Empowerment and Development of Rochester, Special Permit 45 High Tech Park, was outright bigoted and offensive. He treated the applicants like criminals with nefarious intentions. He told them he did not think their proposal belonged in our town, and he suggested that they consider moving to a more appropriate area, even suggesting Henrietta, Pittsford, or the city would be more welcoming. Since when is it the planning board's job to tell applicants of a business where they can locate? His badgering of the purpose of the entity and what it would offer the residents of Henrietta was presumptive and circumstantial, based solely on his opinion. He did not bother to ask what services or opportunities would be offered. He offered research that did not apply to this entity, again, solely based on his interpretation. Mr. Ass gave the applicants and everyone in that room the impression that they were not welcome in Rush. The planning board did approve the application, but Mr. Ass was the sole dissenting vote. Again, his reasons was they do not belong in Rush. You need to know that at the conclusion of that approval of the applicants and their legal representation exited the meeting, I followed them out to the lobby to apologize for Mr. Ass' behavior and assured them that he does not represent the opinions of Rush residents. I am inclined to contact their legal counsel to recommend he also file a complaint. His actions and opinions are not acceptable, and he should be removed from further service. I also suggest a formal apology from the town be sent to those applicants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Carol Barnett. I live in Rush and I'm on the board of the Rush Recreation and Park Association, or Rush RPA. I just want to report that there was a lot of activity at 100 Acres Nature Park last Saturday. There were almost 20 people planting trees and more than 30 people on a guided nature walk with Steve Daniel, who's a very well-known and well-regarded Rochester-based naturalist. I was one of the people on the walk, and all this happened in spite of the fact that it rained a lot that day and there was a thunderstorm predicted. But I also want to say some words in favor of the town board supporting the application for the upper 52 acres of the 100 Acres Nature Park to become a community old growth forest. This would add a great distinction to the park and to the town. If you go on the Old Growth Forest website, it gives you the benefits of being included in that network, and they are awareness. You get recognition for being on that part of that network, alliance with other forests, acclaim, and finally, perhaps most importantly, support. They say, we hope with this recognition, you'll experience enhanced support for the continued protection of your forest and for the funding of your organization, so that if those 52 acres became part of the Old Growth Forest Network, very likely we would be more likely to get members and volunteers and grant support for the park. So I know at the last town board meeting, some board members expressed concern that this would stand in the way of cutting down trees that were at risk. But this kind of designation always carries an exception for public safety. So that shouldn't stand in the way of the town board supporting this. And and I think I speak on behalf of the Rush Recreation and Park Association. We hope very much that you will support it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're late for a continuation of our public hearing. Yeah.
local law number of 2025 to amend the code of the town of Rush, updating chapter 103 of the code of the town of Rush by amending section 103-2 regarding the maximum income eligibility levels for senior citizen exemption.
I had a discussion with Amy, our assessor. Exemptions, and they're not retroactive. So at this point, they wouldn't go into effect until before the next tax cycle. I also talked with her about, Steve Schultz from Henrietta has talked about trying to exempt certain portions of senior citizens social payments from their income levels, which would increase their amount of discount or exemption. But also, because the town of Rush has a lot of senior citizens, it could affect, if senior citizens get more of a discount because they're not taxed on their social security, the rest of the town residents would have to pick that up. So she said she would investigate that for me to see what the impact would be on everyone in town. And because this would not go into effect until the next tax cycle, I think we should put this off until it would be, because of everything going out in the assessor's office right now, she won't be able to work on it until into June and July. So I'd like to reconvene this in August, the first meeting of August.
So we're gonna continue the public hearing until the first meeting in August until we can get the
Yeah,
update.
we can get the information on what's gonna benefit the most people in town, and it'll still be in effect in time for the next tax cycle.
And to the extent that there's any additional, if we're gonna go down the road of having, something not counted, if social security is not gonna be counted as income or a portion thereof, then there may be a revision that will be necessary to the local law, but we will post that. We can, because we're pushing out to August, we'll have time to get that out. to the public,
Okay.
So that
I just think it makes more sense to do it the right way.
so I'm just trying to find that for August first,
I think it's August 13th.
13th.
Yep. Does anybody else think?
That sounds like the best way to go about it. We're not losing anything and we're gonna get everything ironed out before we do anything. So I think might as well just hold off until we get all our questions answered.
I think you may want to just include that you talk about the 2026 tax season rate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Add that into it, that's all.
Did anybody have any comments? We continue the open forum.
Hi, Marianne Rizzo. I did sort of hear what Councilman Kais was saying. Couldn't hear you that good though.
Oh.
But I think you were supportive of having it start in the 2026 town taxes. And I appreciate that. So when the time comes, thank you.
Just on that point, as long as the local law has been adopted and filed by this Secretary of State for New York on or before March 1st of 2026, it will be effective on the 2026 start of the 2026 tax rules. That's the taxable status date. So nothing, that's the date by which all the exemptions will be captured. So applications for this will have to be in by then. So we've got time to get it done so that people can apply well before that date. So certainly not going to wait to that long, but that is the taxable status date.
So it sounds like if you did apply before this March and you're paying the town taxes in 2026, the very first January, February, sounds like it won't.
It won't take effect until the first time the exemption will be reflected would be the 2026-2027 school tax bill because of the March 1st tax date.
Well, some people did apply, is what I'm saying, and that's what I was hoping when I said retroactive, if you could, in your law, pass it so that it would be in effect for 2026.
In looking at real property tax law 467, that's not permitted. There would have to be a mechanism already in place for that to make it retroactive. You can't make it retroactive to an application that's already been filed. Anything that's it's the March 1st is the taxable status date. That is the snapshot in time that the exemption is based on. So because the law is not in effect at that time, you can't make it retroactively applied. And that's what we wanted to verify with the assessor as well.
Okay. Approval of the minutes, or was everyone done with public comment on matters in general?
Supervisor, if you're gonna, I think we just need a motion to continue the public hearing until April 13th, August 13th, 2020.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue the open or the public hearing through August 13th, 2026.
25.
25.
Second,
Oh, sorry.
Councilperson Kais,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown.
Aye.
Now public comment.
I live at 25 Stoll Road. Mary Ann Rizzo, I'm the president of the Rush Recreation and Park Association, and I'd like to give my hope that you will approve the resolution tonight on the Old Growth Forest Network Community Forest Program designation. I'm going to quote this, that the Old Growth Forest Network is a national network in the United States of old growth forests, native forests, where people of all generations can experience biodiversity and the beauty of nature. And right now, there's only 283 forests in the United States with that designation. And the 52 acres and the 108 acres nature park would be the second one in Monroe County. And I think Carol Ralph told you 2 weeks ago that the other designated forest is in Cobb's Hill. It's called Washington Grove. And there's 26 acres there. I think it's at a peak. I haven't been there. But I really want to go there. I hope you'll pass the resolution because we're building a legacy, and for you to pass this resolution will help us build the legacy of the 100 Acres Nature Park, that this will outlive all of us. And it's a win-win situation because it could potentially help our town get more grants. And so we've gotten 2 grants so far. And I know that you had raised an issue of maybe the trees presenting a hazard to the some of the townspeople. But I would say that it will not be an issue to take down any hazardous trees in the park if it's deemed, that could hurt somebody. It's not an issue. So I hope you pass it. I hope you pass it unanimously. And I think it will help our town become a destination. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Ralph, 8045 West Henrietta Road. And I just wanted to add to Carol and Mary Ann's comments that also with the Old Growth Forest Network, any trail work that needs to be done or any projects that we may have in the park, if a tree needed to be removed for that purpose, that's allowable as well. The purpose of the network is to bring people's attention to the forest and preserving forests, and it's not meant to interfere with, trying to enhance the property for public use. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Approval of the minutes.
I so move to approve town board workshop minutes of Monday, April 7, 2025, as submitted by Deputy Clerk Buchanan. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilperson Kais,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of the town board from April 9th.
Approve the town board minutes of Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, as submitted by Town Clerk Hargrave. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilperson Kais,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown.
Aye.
Approval of the abstract. Councilperson Kais.
Having reviewed all the vouchers on abstract 4-2 of April 23, 2025. authorizes payment totaling $89,802.10, which includes Fund AA General for $46,971.55. DA Highway Townwide for $35,135.12. HH Capital Project Fund, $1,450.49. And LL Library for $6,244.94. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Kives,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Report of officers.
So I attended the Rush Fire Commissioners meeting. It normally is Councilperson Morelli's role as liaison, but she had something come up, so I filled in for her in that capacity this month. It was a good meeting. It looks like the chiefs are going to be getting their two official pickup trucks from the fire department here very soon. They're in the final stages of that. Other than that, those guys, obviously, they're coordinating a lot of training for all the members, trying to make sure that everyone has their certifications. And I've said it before, we're lucky to have that group of volunteers, and they do a lot of, put in a lot of hours and time to be able to be a volunteer in that capacity. So we're very lucky to have a group of men and women that are willing to do that for this town. Last night, I attended our planning board meeting. There were 3 applications that were on the table to be approved. All 3 of those applications did get approval from the planning board, so those projects will be moving forward. And there was a couple other projects coming down the pipe. They had just a very informal discussion on 3 items. One was a subdivision. The other was at Sarah Verdi Temple, I believe that's how it's pronounced, over on East River Road. They actually are looking at putting in a green parking for overflow, which is a pretty interesting form of parking. It's not blacktop, it's actually
Honeycomb.
yeah, honeycomb. It's a plastic grid with some gravel, so it's grass, but it'll support trucks and cars and stuff like that. So it's a nice alternative to just blacktop that's not going to be utilized all the time. So hopefully that can get approved by the planning board. And geez, forgive me, there was one other one on there. Yep, there was a potential for a new non-for-profit club that wants to put a building on a piece of property. So they're looking at maybe giving that approval. So we'll see how these things work moving forward throughout the next couple meetings probably. So that's what I have for what I did this month.
Thank you. Councilperson Kives.
I attended the Conservation Board meeting. It was a little bit of a quiet meeting, wasn't a lot going on, couple approvals and considerations for some subdivision. They talked about the forest a little bit. The solar workshop has been working with the code committee. And we'll probably come in, we're about ready to submit that to the town board while we worked on. So we'd probably like to be thinking about a workshop in June that we can present it. We thought about possibly, doing it with the residential, but there's too much with the residential. We gotta go back that one off. So we'll be bringing that in there. I think we got a lot of good feedback from other towns, and the group has done an awful lot of work putting this together with the help of Scott there. They've really done a good job. I also last weekend Went up and down my road in 15 and did some trash pickup. I don't know if I didn't see really anybody else out, but it's amazing how much trash is generated over the winter. What ends up in the fields, you know, so like. So my hats off to the people that did do that. You know, so, thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Councilperson Brown?
I was not able to attend the zoning board meeting last week, but I did talk to Chairperson Hetrick and got an update from that. Both applications that they were reviewing have been tabled. The one specifically is a Dollar General, or it needs to have a secret review, and then the other one for the zoning, but he said, or the zoning variance for the tree height around the Howlett solar field. He said there was a lot of good conversations though, and he said it was a relatively productive meeting.
Good. Annette, do you have a report?
Nothing.
Kevin?
Okay.
Derek?
I'm right here.
Oh, sorry.
We're looking at this. The highway department is currently out doing brush pickup. This is the first week of it. It typically lasts about 3 weeks to get around the entire town. Last week, we ordered 200 more ton of rock salt to fill our building up for the upcoming winter in 2025-26 season. In anticipation of the price going way up due to what happened
I
last.
can imagine.
So we've currently got about 1,200 ton of salt on storage for next year. Hopefully that'll last all year, but I doubt it. We're gonna be moving into road work as soon as we're done with brush pickup. We're gonna head to Wardell Road to do an in-place cold recycle. At the meeting coming, I will have a 284 agreement for you all to sign and to allocate the funds for that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I attended the library board meeting last Tuesday, and yesterday I attended the industry board meeting. They are terribly understaffed. But they do have a lot of stuff going on there. They have culinary classes for the kids. A mobile welding shop's gonna turn up. They have kids taking going to barber school. 11 are taking courses from MCC. They also have a summer employment program. They also have a security guard training program for some of the kids that are there, so they can become security guards and maybe fill some positions over there. They have an auto mechanics class. Kids are taking over at BOCES 1. It's just the Industry Residential Center Advisory Board, which the meeting that I go to, they supplied Easter candy for the kids this year, and they're looking to buy dress clothes for some of the kids that have job interviews when they're leaving, getting out, and that's about it. I mean, there's a lot going on. They have about just over 100 students, kids. 60 in the more secure part, 40 in the less secure. But if you know anybody looking for a job, they spend a lot of time looking for employees. And that's all I have. Moving on to old business, the proposed resolution for the tree committee at the 100 Acres Nature Park. My question for Carol was, I was wondering, part of the LWRP is to put a trail along the river over there, and I didn't know if being a member of this would affect the ability to put a trail through the woods, but she assures me it does not. But apparently it puts no restrictions on what we can do over there. So someone would like to read the motion. Will anybody's got?
I'll be honest, I was out of town all last week for a while, so I didn't, as you can tell, I just emailed you back today. So I haven't really had a lot of time to look through it anymore. Still trying to get caught up at work, let alone this, so. again, I'm not opposed to it. I like taking hikes with my daughter and stuff, so I'm, again, not opposed to it. I just would.
My biggest concern was restrictions to the town. If we don't have any restrictions, then
Yeah, no restrictions.
It's not a legal binding agreement, it's just an attempt.
And Sarah did, from old OFGN. Yeah, she had said that there was no legal binding agreement to this.
yeah, I saw that in that email as well. So.
I reviewed the website, the materials on, at the request supervisor, and I concur with the same thing. There's no formal agreement the town's entering into. The designations, the designation, but, again, it's really to draw awareness and bring awareness, at least from what the materials agree, but there's no binding agreement between the parties saying this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. It's just really to bring attention, support, and potentially a grant, to assist with obtaining grants and things of that nature. That's what been volunteers.
Basically puts the forest on a map. If people are in the area, they can go take it. They know where to go.
Yeah, management, good management of it, that's all.
And maybe a resource if the town had questions about certain things, that may be able to tap into their network to see if there's any support that could be.
Motion. I'll make the motion to accept the indication of forested land with 100-acre nature park into the community forest network as established by the nonprofit Old Growth Forest Network. Whereas the 100-acre nature park is dedicated and maintained as parkland and includes more than 50 acres of mature forest. And whereas the nonprofit organization Old Grown Forest Network has accepted the nomination to include the forest with a 100-acre nature park into the community forest network. And whereas the indication into the community forest network is at no cost to the citizens of Rush, and therefore be it resolved that the forest within the 100-acre nature park be indicted into the community forest network. Do I have a second?
The one, it just needs to say growth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change that.
Say inducted, not indicted.
And I think getting all specific. I mean, it's more fun if you're in.
Wish it said. Inducted. Got it.
Did we get a second?
I'll second that.
Councilperson Kies,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown.
Aye.
I added to the agenda late today. I finally got a hold of Tracy from National Grid about converting our streetlights to LED. They have a program now that we would get an incentive to switch over for almost $4,400. The town has 73 streetlights. And there's no charge for well, all said and done, we should save about $2,000 a year on electricity.
No brainer.
But we gotta pay for the lights, right?
It's included in what we pay. And so,
It's part of our electric bill.
yeah, yeah. So with paying for the lights, we save $2,000. We're paying for the lights now.
Will the cost of the lights come off of the
The-
cost to operate them eventually?
The cost of the lights, they depreciate over here, so we're paying less. So we start off saving, well, final figures, we won't get until we submit, but as they stand right now, we save like about $2,000 a year. But before they can give us final figures, DJ's doing a little research.
Yeah, so the wattage on the lights and the LED lights are much, much brighter than the current lights that we have, which is good in some cases. I've gotten about half of them done. I'm just looking at the ones that are very, very close to houses.
Tracy says we have to be careful. they're bright white.
Yeah, so
And
we're
they
just
can,
looking into the ones that are very, very close to households and stuff like that, that may, I guess, inconvenience people at night or whatever, because they are so much brighter, which is good for the intersections in such
Yeah.
places.
Did the one they convert on the corner of Stony Brook and West Rush, is that LED or the one that aired?
I don't know exactly what they did. I don't think they put a whole new head on that one. They may have put an LED bulb. I believe when they changed these lights out, they replaced the entire head of the light to a certain
the
thing.
new ones
so-
are the whole, all one piece. The light, the
Oh, it's the arm.
arm, everything, it's all one
Yeah.
piece.
So just going around town and, making note of the ones
Yeah.
that could be,
They have ways to shield them if it's gonna be a problem for a house.
Just gonna ask, can they adjust, use different wattage fixtures? or-
No, but they can shield it. But they'd like to know before they put them up, so they don't have to come back and
yeah,
make it a
and there
test.
are like 3 different wattages
Yeah.
of the LED lights,
The,
like you're asking,
yeah,
in certain spots.
Okay. Say it was a couple $1,000 a year.
the current 70-watt ones that we have 44 of them, and we would go to a 25-watt. Espresso list. We have 22 150 watts, and they go to, I think. 250. I have it written down somewhere. Yep.
On the back.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, that's what we have, but they convert, well, the 70 converts to a 25. It's a lot
Hmm.
lower watts that they draw. That's our savings.
Sounds like a good upgrade. Yep. I'm gonna get it cut up. There's not a resolution.
Old business.
Oh, no, it's right here. I so moved to let the supervisor approve the LED conversion for street lights for the town of Rush. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilperson Kies,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
We need a resolution to schedule the next town board workshop for May 5th, 2025 to continue our discussion of residential code.
I so move to schedule a town board workshop meeting on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 7 PM at the town hall offices, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543, for the purpose of discussing Rush Town Code residential R20 and R30 districts. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Kies,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Now we need to do asbestos and lead paint survey at building 9 at White Springs Farm. We have 3 proposals. I got a price from Lazier for the lead sampling. That was $1,200. It brings their total to $2,650. They're doing a total of 25 asbestos samples. Expert Environmental doing 18 samples and the lead survey, and their price is $29.15. Paradigm doing 36 ELM samples for asbestos, 16 TEM. And the lead survey, they also were gonna test for mold, but we're not gonna do that, so that would give, their price would be. $3,760. No,
There's been no power or heat
3,960.
to those buildings.
Hmm?
There's been no power or heat to those buildings in years. has there?
No. There appears to be no leaks. I walking through, I didn't see anything that even looked like that.
On the- They had to come back and check the mold after the fact.
Well, at this point, we don't really have any uses for those buildings. Maybe just start here, and
Go from there.
if these reports come back in the clear, and we'll burn that next bridge when we have to.
Okay,
I think, I don't know, what do you guys think?
I think so.
We gotta do this to move forward with it.
Yeah. Lazier's the cheapest. They're doing less than Paradigm, but more than Expert Environmental.
But what they're doing is sufficient, so.
This year. What was their total?
Lazier,
2650.
I so move to authorize the supervisor to contract for a pre-renovation asbestos / lead paint survey from Lazier to be completed on Building 9 at White Springs Farms, 6565 East River Road, Rush, New York, for the amount of $2,650. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Kais,
I'm gonna abstain because we do work with them, my private company.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Willover,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
And finally, we had an inspection from Davis Ulmer on our sprinkler system. And part of the ongoing bringing it up to standard, they found some deficiencies that need to be corrected. Ran it past our fire marshal, and he said they seem reasonable. Cost is $2,600. There were different 5 and 10-year inspections that didn't get done, and as they're knocking those off, they come up with deficiencies. So, I mean, we should be getting to the point where we're caught up. But it was 15, 16 years, we didn't have any inspections.
Cheaper than a new ceiling.
Or another library.
Yeah.
I so move to authorize the supervisor to contract with Davis Ulmer Fire Protection, 300 Cultural Park, Rochester, New York, 14623, to conduct sample testing of town hall and library installed sprinklers for an amount not to exceed $2,600. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Kais,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Willover,
I
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
believe that concludes the business of the town for today. Conservation Board is coming up on May 8th. Zoning Board is May 15th, and Planning Board will be on May 27th. Having completed everything, make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Councilperson Kais,
Hey.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Willover,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. We didn't vote on the engineering firm.
Yeah, you can reconvene quickly if you want, or.
What's the matter?
We
Or you-
we didn't make a
or you-
motion on that. We didn't do a resolution on the engineering.
Oh. We don't have town meeting?
Make a motion to reopen the meeting.
Are we allowed to do that? Okay.
It's 2 seconds after the fact, so
Okay. I'll second that motion.
we haven't shut off the recording or anything yet. The recording is still on, so.
Councilperson Kais,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver.
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
And you're reopening the meeting to address one matter that was inadvertently omitted.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Marks Engineering to be the new engineering firm for the town of Rush, effective and well, May 1st. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Person Kais,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
carried.
Make a motion again to close the meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 For real.
I shut it off.